All right, so let's get querying. It's finally that time. We're about to embark on a journey of a lifetime. And by the end of this, you'll be able to operate SQL and write queries like a pro. Now, without further ado, here are all of the commands that you will be learning throughout the course. Now, we will focus more specifically on ones than others, but this is just to give you a lay of the land. When we talk about SQL commands, we bucket them. As with everything, you need categories to understand what the possibilities are. And so when we bucket them, we use these abbreviations called DDL, DQL, DML, DCL. And what do these mean? Well, it's simpler than you would think. DCL stands for Data Control Language. So granting and revoking access, the ability to give someone access to a certain data set or revoke access. Then we talk about DDL, Data Definition Language. Now these are a broad set of statements that are often used when you're setting up your database and you're setting up your world and you want to change things. All of those commands have to do with the definition of data. And so if we drill down into them, you can see here, create, to create a database, to create a table, to create a whole bunch of things in your world. Alter, to change the state of something, change the state of the database, change the state of a table, the name of a table. Drop, delete something, remove something. Rename, the ability to rename a table, rename a database. Truncate, fully remove all of the data inside. Comment, and so forth and so forth. All of these commands have specific reasons and specific implementations that you can use them for. Then we go into DQL, Data Query Language, and this is the one we're going to focus on heavily. Why? Because it contains the select statement. And the select statement is the one that drives your world. Because once you've set up a database, or once a database is already there, the majority of the time what you're going to be doing is figuring out how to view that data and how to draw things from your data. And so the select is vital to find out things. It's the way to maneuver through your data. And then we have DML, Data Modification Language. And these have to do with the data that we actually have inside of the tables, inside of the database. So once we use DDL to define our database and to define our tables and to define the relationships, when we're actually talking about the data, we use DML instructions to insert certain rows, to update certain rows, delete certain rows, merge rows, etc., etc. There are a whole bunch of commands that you can use to talk to the specific rows of data you have. And so throughout the course, you may see us use varying amounts of these commands, mainly focusing on the DQL, the select statement. So now that we know all of this, let's flash back to our simple select statement. You guys remember this? When we did our very first exercise on the select statement with a filter, and we did select name from users where role equals manager. Well, this SQL statement we can call a simple select statement because it's doing something very simple. It's selecting the name from the users table and filtering by role. All right. So knowing that this SQL statement is very, very simple, very basic, what we can say here is a select statement is utilized to get us back information. A select is to retrieve data. That is what we use it for. And intuitively, we already knew this, right? We've been writing select statements throughout and we've been getting data back. But I want to solidify this principle. The select statement is DQL. It's data querying language. And it's used to retrieve data. And we can do a whole bunch of types of retrievals, and we're going to get into all of those. But let's solidify that principle. A select is used to retrieve data. Think of it like the stork, but instead of it getting us a baby, it's getting us the data we want to select. All right, so knowing that, let's get into some simple SQL exercises with the select statement.